Hello, I'm Gene Bosman, Vice President and Principal Analyst with Hurwitz and Associates, and I'm here on Trilogy Tech Talk, and we're all here because of the RSA conference. Today, we're here with Pavel Gurvich, who's CEO of Guardicore, and he's going to tell us about his company, its technology, and how it addresses customer challenges and what the solutions look like. So Pavel, it's great to have you here. Tell us a bit about your company and how it came about, where you're located, and so on and so forth, just so we familiarize ourselves.
Sure, so thanks for having me. Guardicore is a data center security company. We're based out of Tel Aviv, Israel, and San Francisco in the United States. We also have offices in France. We help our customers address the security needs of a modern data center.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's it.
Wait. It's a very important need.
Well, do you approach it though through hardware, software, a mixture of those? I mean,
yeah, it's a software solution that can be deployed as a pure software, or it can come up on pre-installed on an appliance if that's relevant. But the majority of our deployments are software only. Software only.
And the founders, obviously including yourself, what was the motivation for starting the company, and how did you come to think about this solution?
We had a lot of experience in the cybersecurity space, and we felt that there is a big disconnect between how important the data center is to an organization and how well it's secured today. And we thought that there are a lot of technological innovations that are enabling rethinking of new security solution for the data center. Yeah. So that basically that's what we've done.
Yeah. Well, we've been hearing that here at the show, that the way people did data security in the past was fine for a long time, but now there are new types of threats and there's a new way of thinking, and there's also some new approaches we can take to protect ourselves. Do you focus more on the identification or the actual threats themselves? How do you deal with it? Are you looking to identify first, and then how do you go?
Right. So I think that I agree with you that there are new challenges, but I think there are new opportunities as well, and that's some of the things we leverage. We use software-defined networking. We use software-defined data center and the APIs that modern data center provides to address some of the key challenges or key issues in securing a modern data center. Guardicore is providing a single platform that has 5 components to it. One is visibility, the second is segmentation, breach detection, and then an in-depth analysis and response, right? So we bring a lot of value that's tied up together in a single platform. So we're not specifically focused on let's do identification first or anything else. We'll provide a full set of solutions or key components we believe are necessary to provide.
So it's a robust solution.
It's a robust, and it's a relatively kind of wide approach, right? So we don't want to provide a single silo or a single solution for one specific need, especially in the data center.
So when you're working through this with a customer, what types of folks in the organization you're speaking to is a question we often get, is it the IT folks, the IT directors, the CIO, the business people perhaps are involved? I mean, tell us about that.
Yeah, so I think all of the above are involved at some level and at some stage of the conversation. Commonly, we talk to the security people. In many cases, they feel the need to secure a data center, but they lack the right tools that fit the modern data center architecture, and that's when we come in and play. We provide them with a system that was custom built for a data center. It really doesn't work very well in any other place, right? But it's solely focused on the data center, and there we're doing a very good job in terms of integration and the way the system was designed. So the security people have finally a solution that can really scale and can fit the modern data center architecture, and then they have a much simpler time talking to the operation and the IT people about that.
I think what you're alluding to here, because you did mention software-defined networking, is that we're seeing really, a lot of people call it a transformation of the data center. Before we used to have these silos, this system, this system, this system, maybe they didn't talk to each other very well. And now we see a lot more scale out for one thing, and we also see an awareness of the other systems through having things like software-defined infrastructure, software-defined networking, and so on. So you're involved in that transformation, right?
Right. Well, I'd like to think we're helping catch up on that and provide the security layer that's missing there. But just to reiterate, I think what you're saying is there's definitely those challenges, but when you look at organizations today, they commonly have multiple environments and multiple vendors, and sometimes they're hybrid, right? So there is an orchestration layer that needs to be placed across this, and that's challenging, and then the ability to provide security on top of that is even a bigger challenge. Right.
So you need something that goes across the whole network and reaches into all the
wherever they are, if they're on premises in a virtualized environment or a physical environment, or if they're running workloads in the public cloud. And commonly for many organizations, they're doing a little bit of both.
I'm glad you mentioned cloud. Not everybody does. No, I mean, we think of the data center first, but now with cloud, and forgive me for saying hybrid cloud, this private enterprise world in many cases is connecting up with, in fact, public clouds, or more than one. So that creates a new level of potential threat.
Absolutely, and then it creates a new level of complexity for people running security. They have a bunch of point solutions for various environments, siloed, and then a very difficult time managing policies across these and managing configurations. And then they have to tie in the application people to run specific workloads in specific environments, which is, in a way, ridiculous. So we solve that issue. We provide a single platform with a single control plane that can work on multiple environments, including hybrids, and let you decouple where you want to run the application from, how you want to secure them.
I also hear here that there's a bit of either consulting or consultative services that might be available to help them implement this, or it's not necessary?
No, it's not necessary. Guardicore is a product company. We do provide professional services to help implement that, but the focus is on the product. Okay,
great. So we should talk a little more about the solution. Dive in, tell us a bit about, there were a number of things I had written down here, semantic analysis, breach detection. What are some of the features of the solution?
So I think I'll start with just quickly iterating some of the key challenges we address, and then dive into how. The first one, I think, is and we touched on that, is the hybrid nature and the multi-vendor nature of the data center. A lot of our customers are having hybrid environments or in which they are running applications in some combination of physical servers, virtualized environments, or public clouds, For example, people will have an internal VMware deployment and some workloads running on Amazon, or a bunch of legacy servers on their physical data center, and then some containers on top of that.
This is what we call in the business inherited infrastructure. But it builds up over time and it's diverse.
Exactly, and it's getting difficult to manage and secure. So that's one challenge. The other is just the sheer volume of east-west traffic that a security solution needs to be able to scale.
You mean for switching for the network, east-west?
Yeah, east-west switching, or across VMs, or between containers, So it's traffic that's relatively difficult to see and can scale cumulatively to terabits per second. And if you're trying to do more of the same, like deep packet inspection, you will have serious problems scaling the compute to look at all the traffic.
So how did you address that? How did you?
So essentially, Guardicore is addressing all of the above in a few key ways. We provide a single platform that is able to operate effectively across whatever infrastructure you have, and that enables us to work very well in hybrid environments. We have a distributed architecture that is able to look at all the traffic, but only selectively choose the traffic that we're most interested in and inspect that to be able to detect things like lateral movement within data center east-west traffic. And we also have a level, and you touched on that, of semantic analysis that can, after we detect a breach, get into more details and do some level of automated forensic analysis that generates very deep, actionable insights that we can use to respond very quickly before the problem gets out of hand.
Right, and this was the part where, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but we're finding out now in many of these conferences that you can experience, or a company could experience, a breach for more than 100 days, 200 days, and not even be aware. How can that happen?
It's unfortunately a common case.
Yeah.
There are security controls commonly placed on the perimeter of the data center, which is by itself is a big problem, right? There's no more such thing as a perimeter, especially in hybrid environments.
Right.
But there is really very little number of security controls placed within the data center, and that's what we're focusing on, the internal part of the data center. Being able to detect a breach in a timely fashion, not based on hunches and not based on someone from the outside calling you and saying, hey, you're doing something wrong.
So it's got to be informed.
It's got to be informed. It has to be very quick, and it has to be very rapid. And then you need to be able to help the organization identify a real breach and the meaning of that breach and how wide is the spread and what tools were used, etc. Right? And so that's all capabilities we provide. And when you tie that up with automated response, like very fine grade isolation, right? So for instance,
I was going to say, do you isolate it? That's great.
Yeah, we actually do, but we can do that not just by disconnecting a server from the network that might be doing something important, right? But by blocking specific ports or specific processes within that server from going out and exploiting vulnerabilities we already detected. And then when that server or that workload is isolated, we can go ahead and remediate that and disinfect it.
Very important.
And exactly, and do that as quick as possible so that the spread doesn't get very wide.
Contain it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we are running a little short on time, but I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about the business value. So we know you have great technology, but after you've engaged with the customer and done all of these things we've talked about, how would you sum up the business value, the business outcome? You know, now that we've addressed it, what do the customers take away from this experience?
Yeah, sure. I think the data center in its multiple ways is one of the key assets of an organization. It's it houses the most mission-critical business applications that you never want to go down, and it houses some of the most sensitive data in the organization that you never want to be exfiltrated. And we help the security people provide a layer of defense for the internal side of the data center, effectively making it resilient to a breach. And that's very useful to our customers. And then we help them respond to that breach, and we help them understand what happened very quickly and reduce that time of exposure to vulnerability or a breach that might have happened from hundreds of days to minutes, right? And that helps them greatly reduce the risks that are associated with...
reduces the surface of risk as well.
Yes.
And once you do this disinfecting.
Right,
yeah,
of course.
Right. That's right. So I just wanted to say, do people then come back to this, and is it, you know, how do you implement it? Do you have an initial engagement, or how do you work with them, I guess I want to ask.
So a typical engagement with an organization starts with deployment in a subsection of the data center, like they would take one specific location or one specific business application that might span across multiple environments, deploys there. It usually takes about a month or two of proof of concept, and then it's deployed.
And there you are.
The rest of the infrastructure,
That's fantastic. Well, I want to thank you for coming here today and sharing this with us. And of course, I'm sure you'll be going back to the RSA conference, and people can find you that way. And they also may be able to go to your website and get more information how to contact you. Very good. Thank you very much for being here today. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you.